Hey everyone, it's Hannah Saber from HR Images. In today's video, we'll be talking to you about the brand new Sony ZV-E1 camera, so stay tuned. So not long ago, Sony had released the ZV-E1 camera. Now, it is a great vlogging camera that I've found. I've currently got the S3, which I do all my YouTube videos for. But the reason why I'm actually considering the ZV-E1 is because of the compact size and the technology that this camera has that the S3 doesn't. So the ZV-E1 is basically the S3 just with new extra bells and whistles, like, so for example, the AI tracking and different other features, which we will go through as well. This is just going to be like a short review and more of a first impressions why I like the camera, just pointing out the main features that this camera has compared to the S3. Would I get rid of the S3? I'm still going to keep the S3 because I do use that as photography, and when I do more my bigger video for my YouTube channel or whatever I need, the S3 I will be using. But the ZV-E1, due to its size, I do like the idea of it being compact and great for vlogging. So currently in my setup, I've got the Samyang 24 T1.9 Cine lens, as well as my Boya shotgun mic mounted on it. So it's very light, very compact. I can go around, I can shoot with this camera, not have any issues. The Sony S3 is a bit heavier. So one thing I do like with this camera is the AI tracking. So for example, I do a lot of my videos and reviews on my own. And especially if I don't have anybody, if I want to pan it or follow me, having somebody with me will benefit. But unfortunately, not all the time I can get somebody with me. And just having the camera in still, it is hard to sort of kind of, you know, when you want to move a bit, you want the camera to follow you. With this, so currently I'll give you an example. So now I've got the camera mounted just here on my desk. So one thing this camera has is the AI tracking. So if I do tap on myself on the thing, so now it's currently tracking. So on the video, if I'm moving, the camera will actually follow me through. But the difference with this feature, it actually crops in completely. So it doesn't, you're not getting that full view like how you were before. But the good thing about it is if I'm doing a review, if I'm moving around or pointing to a model or whatever, and I have them on the tripod, I can actually have the tracking. Now, the wider the lens, the better. You got more space, you know, different things, different for a different environment. But at the moment, as you can see, even if you're doing a small video where you are doing like a reel or whatever, and you're doing something, if you start tracking on you, it will actually follow you, and you can be doing what you have to do, move around, and the camera does follow you around. So it basically looks like someone's panning, and I do really like that feature. Now, the thing with the ZV-E1 compared to the S3 has a lot of custom buttons, where the ZV-E1 doesn't. But the thing with the ZV-E1, the screen is touchscreen. So be able to access anything, whether you want to go tracking, you want to, you know, to the f-stop, you can actually manually change everything through touchscreen, you know, especially with the tracking. So when I did the AI tracking, if you press on the screen, it will track you. To be able to cancel it, you got to press the circle on the back of the camera, but it's easy. So you can actually navigate through the menu just with the touchscreen. So unlike the S3, you got all the custom buttons where you can sort of access things very quickly. The ZV-E1 doesn't have all the custom buttons, but you can navigate through easily on the touchscreen. Now, one thing that the ZV-E1 has is it's got, for the mic, it's actually, you've got different functions. So at the moment, you can actually select so it has front, there's all directions, there's rear. So when it's set to the rear, it'll actually pick up the rear. So you probably hear my voice not as loud as it was before because it's recording at the back of the camera. And then you have auto. I actually have mine at auto because with auto, if I'm talking in the front and then somebody behind me is talking in the back and just saying something and you want it to be recorded, the camera will pick up the audio and make it clearer for the person to hear. So that little feature is great so that you can have directional for audio, but at the moment the auto function is actually very good. So now I'm in front of the camera, you'll be able to hear me. So if I decide to go at the back, you will then hear, it will then change for it. So for example, let's turn the camera around. So I'm not sure, just to give you an idea, so this is now set at auto, and now I'm facing you just to my laptop and the plantation shutters. So I'm just giving you a bit of a talk just so you can hear how it is with the auto feature. Not sure if you heard any much difference, but just to give you an idea. Now, the mic is actually pretty good. So as you can know, I'm actually using the Boya shotgun mic. So let me disconnect this and I will use the internal mic for the Sony. Now, it does come with its own dead cat. So you can be able to mount it on there just to help reduce any noise and wind. So let's just change it around and just to hear the difference in the audio quality. The dead cat on the mic, and I'm actually using the internal mic for the Sony ZV-E1. Not sure if you can hear the difference, if there's any difference in the audio quality using the Boya shotgun mic, comparing it to the internal mic for the Sony. Now, with the Sony ZV-E1, from what I've seen and what I've tested, that the audio quality is actually pretty good internally. But for me, I always do like to have a mic just to have a bit more clear audio. I do find having an external mic does have a clearer audio than the ZV-E1. But, you know, the internal mic is actually really good, especially if you're going vlogging and you don't want to have a lot of gear or stuff, you know, mics, things like that. You can actually just use that. So now, obviously, with the 24 1.9 T1.9 and the internal mic, it's a lot lighter than having a microphone mounted on the camera. So another thing with the ZV-E1, like the A7 IV and the R5, you do have human eye tracking, animal and bird tracking. You've got, you can select the animal and bird tracker together, and you can actually have them separately. You've got insect tracking as well. So if you're doing macro photography with the new 70-200 f4 macro lens, having the insect tracking on, be able to get onto the eyes of the insect and be able to track them nicely and getting some nice sharp images. You've also got car and train as well as airplane. So they're giving you a bit more features on this, like the R5 as well as the 7.4. Another thing what I do like about the ZV-E1, it's actually got product tracking. So if I'm here and I decide to put a product there, it automatically focuses on the product. So instead of having, with some of my videos, I gotta put the product straight in front of my face to be able to make sure it's in focus. If it's like here, for example, the IAF will automatically reach my eye. So then I'm almost having to pre-focus it and make sure it's right in front of my face so it doesn't catch my eye. But whereas the ZV-E1, you've actually got product tracking as well. So then if you put a product and you're doing a product review, it just focuses on the product, making it a lot easier for you. So that's one thing I do love about the ZV-E1, just making things a lot easier and allowing you to focus more on content creation than anything. The only thing with the AI technology in the ZV-E1, I do find if you're using it a lot, it does drain the battery quicker than normal. So just do keep in mind, it has, that's what I did notice a lot when I'm using this ZV-E1. Now, when I'm filming with this as a vlogging camera, it does not overheat. I haven't any issues, don't have it feeling hot, because currently I've got it on my arm, holding on my hands. Now I'm shooting outside. Another feature I did find with the ZV-E1, it's actually got a defocus and clear function. So now at the moment it's a defocus, so it actually blurs out the background and everything. But then if I switch it down out to clear, then I'm gonna just adjust my exposure settings, because when it does that, if you notice, now switching it to clear, the whole background decides to be in focus. So you've got the option to actually change that as well. It is good, especially if you're having more than one person in frame, so you can be able to have it more clear. So then if someone's sitting behind you, you will have them clear instead of blurred out. So that's another good thing I do like with this camera. And you can actually switch it back to the defocus setting, having the background out of focus and more me in focus. Another thing is, like now I'm walking and it's actually pretty good. So it's not shaky from what I can see, but there's actually another function here that has dynamic steady. So let me just quickly switch into that. So now with the steady shot, you got to have auto framing off, which is the one that I've showed you, where it tracks you and frames you every time you move. Whereas now, if we have steady shot off, so this is it been off. So even though I'm keeping my hands still, you might see a little bit of a jerk. But then if we can go standard. So this is standard steady shot, just to showing you the difference. If we then, you'll have then active. So if you go active, it crops it in more than what it actually was in standard. So you got to bear in mind that. So now if in standard, in active, it's actually a lot smoother when I'm walking back and forth than what it was in standard. Then you also got dynamic. I am unable to select for some reason, but dynamic gives you more of a steadier shot than what active is. So if I'm just going to switch it back to standard, get my normal frame back. So as you can see, you can have the background that's nice and out of focus, shooting wide open. I've currently got a variable 2-in-1 ND filter to be able to have for the shooting wide open and the bright sunlight. That concludes my little quick rundown and first impressions and review of the ZV-E1. If you did enjoy the video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. And this is something I will be looking at getting. Will benefit me a lot for the work I'm going to be doing, especially with my vlogs, my YouTubes and my gear reviews. So these features that I pointed out are the main features that attracted me in actually wanting to test this camera. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and what you think of this camera, if you got it, how you find it, or if you're considering getting this camera. Do check out my Facebook groups below in the description as well. Join them. I'm constantly active. If you want to interact with me, ask questions, I'm always there, being very active, and it's easier to communicate with me on those groups. Until then guys, see ya.